uh, the 60s saw incredible songs become so incredibly popular. It
Yeah.
it was
And it
made.
helped in this way because she put a pop kind of production to it.
Yes,
When
right.
you hear Joni's version, it's completely different.
Really.
It's very folk oriented, and it's actually um, uh, more intimate. Joni's version is a more intimate production than Judy's, but Judy's version is part of the reason why Joni was able to then take her own
Yes.
song,
Mhm.
and do it the way she wanted to do it. It's it's like Kenny Loggins and Michael McDonald, when they would write together, they would decide who was going to get the first recording of it out. And then 6 months or a year later, the other one would put their version out. You know, it's like uh, sometimes, when you are able to put forth someone else's song or one that you've written with someone else out there for popular consumption, it then elevates the other person. And that's what I think a lot of these folk artists did. Because when you look at how many of them sang each other's songs, and every recording that these wonderful performers made elevated the song and the songwriter, as well as their own recordings of it and such. So it was kind of like a big family.
Yeah. For me, this Joni Mitchell's version of this is very personal.
Right.
Judy's Collins is much more inclusive. It could be anybody. Whereas Joni's writing about herself more so.
Yep, exactly.
And
And I think that affects the popularity because it could be any of us. We all have some of that.
there's different types of universality. There's the universality, but it could be about anybody. And with certain artists, like with Joni Mitchell, it's the universality within her own persona that we can identify with. And it's those are two different ways to reach a large audience. Um,
They're two different invitations.
yes, yes,
One is for an intimate dinner party, and the other one is for everybody getting together and hanging out.
yeah. But, and of course, we'll listen to next week. We will feature uh, Joni Mitchell, and we'll listen to her version as well. This, I was there are so many. Joni Mitchell's almost like Picasso. There's so many eras and so many stylistic changes, and uh, but again, we're a '60s group, so we'll concentrate on
And then, speaking of art, you look at her album covers, and they're her art.
right. And a poet, and her lyrics are just phenomenal. And uh, and uh, and then we're talking about the broadside ballads. She has a lot of songs, even in our later jazzy albums. Uh, the uh, um, the lyrics were an expose of society, uh, and social commentary. So taking the folk tradition, but personalizing it in her own style.
Yeah, and it's funny too because she wasn't above using somebody else's um, songs, doing covers and such. Because I mean, her version of Twisted has got to be one of my
Oh, right.
favorite. I mean, it's a '50s song, and but it's just you just look at these people, uh, and you realize that it wasn't about becoming rich and famous. It was about telling their stories and life experiences and such. It's it's so different from every other kind of music because it's the music of the people. It's not just it's not just, oh, everybody, let's get up and dance. And you know it's it means something. It all means something. I mean, it's like the song "Twisted," like I said, was by Annie Ross and Wardell Gray, and it was like done in the '40s.
Yeah, it
And
was
I know that Bette Midler covered it and everything too, but Joni Mitchell's was my favorite of it because she just delved into the emotion of every song, and that's what I loved about her. When she was having fun with something, they would leave her giggles on the track,
Mhm.
and or the laughter as things were finishing, because it was just that unbounded joy, and yet there was also the scathing sorrow on the things about loss. And I think that's part of what made her so accessible to so many people. And she was much more popular with women than she was with men. um, for the most part, because a lot of her songs were about relationships, and
Okay.
were not too kind sometimes to the men in her life in song. But yeah, that's life. That's folk music.
Well, the other thing I'm struck with, there's certain artists and they become successful and they shoot their shot on the first three, four, or five albums, and that's as far as they get. And there's others, well, all the doors are open to them, but then they can just live this luxurious life or whatever, or a celebrity life or whatever. But some, that's not the reason why they do it. They do it because that's who they are and they want to express themselves. And
Yeah, I mean,
they
it's
continue to grow and they go, oh, well, I can do more of what I want. So they do what they want. And the Beatles ex exploded into new type of
Sure.
things. She exploded. Dylan continued to expand. Certain artists, even Michael Jackson continued to expand. A lot. Certain artists, uh, they're not just for the fame and fortune. This is uh, who they are and what they want to do.
yeah, and some of them, it's like Pat and Victoria Garvey. They made one album, one, and it was like a romp for them. It's something that they wanted to do. But because of that, some phrases in two of her songs ended up on posters all throughout the late 60s and the 70s. Today is the first day of the rest of my life.
Yeah.
That was from their song Fugacity. Their song Pick the Weeds. You can't tell the weeds just by looking, by smelling. Weeds can be beautiful and aromatic things, depending upon the point of view your education brings. And that little thing was found, the pieces of those quotes were found everywhere on every hippie's wall, and so they made a difference. And other things, like and other situations. I think it was Carolyn Hester who was offered uh, the role of the woman in what became Peter, Paul, and Mary, but she turned it down. Well, Bob Dylan played his first session on her album, and that playing on that session got him a record deal. So she's not a name that most people in the outside of the folk world would know or care about. But she had some great stuff. But there that incestuous kind of thing within the music world, where somebody sings on somebody else's stuff, or somebody plays on somebody's stuff, somebody writes for somebody else, and then all of a sudden comes full circle to them. And that is really strong within two arenas: one, folk; the other, country. Those two arenas of popular music are the ones where you find this round robin of I'll sing on yours if you sing on mine kind of thing, or I'll write for you if I can do that song of yours.
Well, there's a lot of cross fertilization. But what I want to do now, I want to do one final song on this folk music meeting of ours. And it's one of the ultimate anti-war protest songs. It was written by Buffy St. Marie. And Gail, I didn't know that Donovan recorded it.
Yeah, I love his version.
I went to Donovan's version, and that's what we're going to listen to. Okay. So, and it's an incredible song. It's been recorded by a lot of people, deservedly so. And it's one of these songs, unfortunately, is never going to be outdated because it's very universal. Oh.